My name's James, I'm from South London in the United Kingdom. I've got a degree in American history and literature from the University of Sheffield in England and also the University of Oregon in the United States. The thing I enjoy most is my morning classes when we go out to external schools and teach maybe sometimes 20 but up to maybe 40 students in one classroom. It can be challenging, but it's good fun, and when you do a successful lesson, it's a good feeling. If you've been in the classroom for an hour and 20 minutes and you feel that most of the class have gained a lot from what you've taught them, I think that's really great. Sometimes in the classes it can be a little bit chaotic, I suppose, especially with my elementary school groups, which run from about 7 years old to 12 years old, so they can charge around the classroom, run around and what have you. I encourage that to a certain degree because I think sitting in silence, working, like a lot of the classes do, for whether they're learning bahasa Indonesia or maths, they sit in silence. I think it's good that they are talking and communicating. I think that makes them engage with the work a little bit better. You have to draw the line at some stage, but yeah, I think getting to talk and what have you is a good way of learning, certainly, practicing their English. So sometimes communicating can be difficult, but I suppose part of the point of a native lesson is that they do not speak their own language. They're meant to be practicing English, so maybe that helps them. I like to tell myself that helps them learn it a little bit better. But also, I suppose, teaching SD, which is about 7 years old to 12 years old, is their behavioural things. And so I suppose keeping control of a classroom of very hyperactive young pupils can be difficult. I think the best way to overcome that is to try and not be too tough with the discipline, is to try and befriend them in a certain way. Try and be friendly, keep a smile on your face, and that tends to work better than being a bit too hard and just sit down, get out, go to the principal's office, I think in terms of a certain language issue that Indonesian pupils, and this is from 7 years old right up to 18, is using verbs correctly. For example, if you're talking about what do you do at night, often they will say, I am sleeping. They don't mean that. I sleep is what they mean. So it's the correct use of verbs. And that's something I'm constantly trying to drill from grade 1 right through to our most advanced classes here at MILS, because they make the same mistake right across the board. So that's something that I'm always on the lookout for. I think at the youngest age it's just a case of drilling it. So every time, so maybe we might do an exercise where there'll be 10 questions and making sure every single person gets feedback from me who's made a mistake. They're not allowed to get away with, as it were, writing I am sleeping when they mean I sleep. So I have to correct every single person just to keep doing it. I think repetition for a young age pupil is vital. I think it's the most important thing. So even though you can't explain it, just making sure they see it, no ing here, just I sleep is the correct way. The older students, well, there you can explain a little bit more, and then we can actually say, okay, this is where you're going wrong. We're going to practice this for 15-20 minutes in this class. At the end, you've made this mistake, that's fine, but we're going to practice it, and then we're going to do it again next week, see if you can remember it. I think people should study English here at MILS because we give a very rounded education in terms of English, with reading, writing, speaking skills. No one can come to a class and sit there in silence for an hour or 2 hours or whatever. You are constantly being pushed to practice and demonstrate your English skills, because if you sit there in silence, you're not going to learn anything.